and a Coast Guard aircraft to support our maritime law enforcement patrol up north in Ilocos Norte. So the reason of such deployment is because we were able to monitor the presence of Chinese research vessel Tanso Sanhao or Tanso 3. Based on the dark vessel detection using the satellite, the Chinese research vessel entered our exclusive economic zone last May 1. So prior our deployment, we were actually monitoring the movement of the Chinese research vessel, whether they are only going to conduct freedom of navigation, or we have to confirm whether they are really carrying out a marine scientific research that is not permitted and allowed by the Philippine government. And for almost 2 days of monitoring via satellite, the commandant has already decided to deploy a Coast Guard vessel to make sure that they are going to be escorted out of our exclusive economic zone and to document their illegal activities in conducting marine scientific research within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. So as a result of that, the BRP Teresa Magbanwa, together with the Coast Guard aircraft, based on the photos and videos that we released yesterday, both Coast Guard assets challenge the activity of the Chinese research vessel. They were also advised to stop whatever they are doing, considering that there are a lot of indications that they are carrying out a marine scientific research, and these are not just the reason why they are there is not only because of freedom of navigation. As we speak right now, because BRP Teresa Magbanwa really made sure that the Chinese research vessel will be escorted away out of our exclusive economic zone. As we speak right now, the Chinese research vessel is already at the 250 nautical miles off the coast of Burgos, Ilocos Norte. Meaning to say that the deployment of the Philippine Coast Guard, BRP Teresa Magbanwa, and our Coast Guard aircraft is successful in preventing the Chinese government in doing marine scientific research and whatever research that they're conducting on our own exclusive economic zone. However, I have a video to show you that we just gathered also while we were monitoring the Chinese research vessel. So you can see from here, this one, etong maliit na object na to, this just appears to be a small object, but this is actually the submersible manned research vessel of the Chinese of this Chinese research vessel. So when we arrived, they immediately retrieved this Chinese submersible research vessel. Pag-angat niya, ito siya. It was actually retrieved from behind. Inikot nila yung barko so that the cameras will not be able to document the retrieval of the submersible research vessel. But you can see later, ayun siya. Ito yung tinatawag nilang Shanghai Yongshi or the Deep Sea Warrior. It is actually a manned submersible research vessel. It is actually designed to carry out marine scientific research, archaeological maritime exploration, and also to carry out deep sea scientific research. No? So this submersible vessel can explore as deep as 4,500 meters. And then, besides from this submersible vessel, the BRP Teresa Magbanwa also documented the Chinese research vessel deploying the rigid hull inflatable boat to retrieve a yellow object, which we believe is also an instrument of the Chinese government in doing such illegal marine scientific research within our own exclusive economic zone. So after they retrieve that yellow object, they're going to bring that on board the Chinese research vessel. So those are the equipment that the Chinese government retrieved that we monitored. These are clear indications that what they're doing in our own exclusive economic zone at a distance of barely 90 nautical miles off the coast of Burgos, Ilocos Norte, is that they are conducting. It is also intended to have polar exploration, because this is also capable of ice-breaking vessel. This is currently operated by the Institute of Deep Sea Science Engineering under the supervision of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. So there are a lot of functions for this vessel. The mere fact that it has a 10,000 meter winch system, it is actually intended to support those submersible research vessels, just like what you saw a while ago. So those are the data that I have right now, and I'll be responding to your questions and clarifications.
Thank you so much, Commodore Sir J. Tariela. The floor is now open for questions. One question, then one follow-up.
Submitted to the National Task Force for the West Philippine Sea. And since we all know that NTF-WPS is composed of a lot of lead agencies to include the Department of Foreign Affairs, Department of Justice, and all other departments, it is now for those concerned government agencies to act on this kind of another illegal activity of the People's Republic of China.
Also, sir, previously there were some drones, underwater drones that were recovered. Would this strengthen, this recent incident, would that strengthen that? Kasi before they said that it's only around the likelihood that the Chinese in behind those drones was 55 to 80%. So, mas strengthen ba ngayon yung theory na really na Chinese talaga yung behind those drones na were recovered?
Well, for me, I would like to believe that this kind of this operation that we really provided enough evidence that the Chinese government is really carrying out illegal marine scientific research within our own exclusive economic zone, it basically strengthens the possibility that the drones that we were able to monitor in different parts of the country really came from the Chinese government, since they are the ones who never really hesitate to violate the UNCLOS and to disrespect our sovereign rights within our own exclusive economic zone.
Hi sir, good morning to you from 35. Sir, during the radio challenges natin between doon sa Chinese research vessels, sumagot ba sila?
Well, ang sabi ng piloto sa atin, no, at ang Coast Guard vessel, BRP Teresa Magma, sila nag-responde when they were challenged. No? Ang ginawa na lang talaga nila is they focus their attention and energy in retrieving all those equipment that they have deployed, particularly yung yellow submersible equipment na yon, and also the submersible research vessel as well.
Sir, my follow-up question, you highlighted that yung Chinese research vessel posed a clear evidence that the People's Republic of China are conducting illegal marine scientific research activities. So during that time, wala pa tayong capabilities to siguro ipunin or harangin na sila doon from the area, or confiscate man lang yung the yellow object na kinuha ng Chinese Coast Guard or even the submersible.
Well, on our part, for the Philippine Coast Guard, our mandate is only to make them for them to be prevented in doing the marine scientific research. I'm not really sure whether it is unlawful or legal that makipagpauna kami i-retrieve yung yellow item na yun. Sure about that, but as far as the Coast Guard is concerned, I think we can highlight, as I said, this is a very successful operation dahil for the first time we were able to document them deploying submersible research vessel and also retrieving that yellow equipment that clearly shows supportive of their illegal research, the illegal marine scientific research that they're conducting. But with other functions of this Chinese research vessel, they also have archaeological marine exploration capability. Some open source references would say na this vessel is also used by the Chinese government in looking for the remnants of the Ming Dynasty, more on archaeological. So there are different ways how we can see the deployment of the Chinese research vessel. But ang para sa akin, ang nakakabahala lang is because it has the capability for deep sea mapping, which can be used for submarine deployment as well.
Questions about that, sir?
Good morning, sir. I'm Jesse from ABS-CBN. Sir, kanina nasabi niyo na na-score na natin sila. Unti-unting lumalayo. How assured are we na they won't come back again?
Well, the assurance whether they come back or not is not something that we can tell, no? Hindi natin alam what would prompt them not to return at all. But what I'm saying is that our objective is to stop them from doing their marine scientific research and to escort them out of the exclusive economic zone outside 200 nautical miles. And right now, as what you can see from the satellite image, they already now came as far as 250 nautical miles. But as to your question, is that enough for us to prevent them? I don't think that, it is for us to decide.
Sir, next question. May mga affected fisher folks pa dun sa lugar kung makita natin doon si Army?
No, there are no Chinese, Filipino fishermen in that area. Masyadong malalim na to para mapangisdaan ng ating mga mangisdang Pilipino.
Good morning, sir. I have two questions. For the first, what's the exactly this location can be like a strategic part? Like what's the reasons like the Chinese wants to know about this part of the oceans?
Again, my response will only be very speculative. We can say it's probably because of the deep sea mapping. We can say probably the Chinese government are really desperate in looking for the remnants of the Ming Dynasty. I don't know. But again, we can just focus on the fact that what they're doing is illegal, it's violation of our sovereign rights, and that they do not have any authority to conduct such research within our own exclusive economic zone.
But generally speaking, is this the way out to the West Pacific?
Launched last December of 2024.
Thank you very much.
Any questions about that, sir?
Again, this Chinese Tansu Sanhao is actually the modern Chinese research vessel because it has the 10,000 meter winch system. Ito yung may cord na mahaba. So I don't know whether the deep submersible research vessel was already deployed before. Considering na sa mga nakaraang Chinese research vessels na na-monitor natin, parang wala namang tayong na-monitor na merong ganong kalalim na winch system na makakapag-support ng deep submersible manned research vessel.
Sir, clarify ko lang po. Yung 7 po na research vessels po, this year lang po lahat.
No, some of them as early as 2023.
Sir, Malata, itong particular monitor sa EEZ.
Yes. Again, napakabago ng barko na to. It was only launched last December of 2024. Basically, that vessel is only, 5 months old vessel?
Sir, questions po, ma'am, sir?
Sir, Manny po sa BCWP. Sir, gaano ka-challenging ito sa Philippine Coast Guard considering na we do have very few assets para magawin sa kanila, nagbabantay din tayo sa territory natin in other works. Kung mas magiging active sila sa pagsasagawa sa mga quote-unquote scientific research na gagawin nila using more assets.
More
than one, sir,
no, more than one asset. Okay. Well, I think it's very easy to monitor naman ito mga marine scientific research. No? Primarily because they are dependent on geolocation. So it's very rare that the Chinese research vessel would turn off their satellite positioning. So every once in a while that it enters our own exclusive economic zone, the dark vessel detection of the Canadian government is very helpful for us to strategize where are the places that we're going to prioritize in deploying our Coast Guard vessel. So even if they come up with 3 or 4 Chinese research vessels, we would know. The Coast Guard vessels are limited, but we can be able to strategize their deployment.
So sir, this one was detected with the help of that Canadian
Dark vessel, yes.
Questions po, ma'am, sir?
Sir, sorry, para alay na lang sa date. Yung first sighting sa kanila was
May 1.
May 1.
And then we monitored them at least 2 days before the commandant has decided to deploy a Coast Guard vessel, because again, we don't want to be a victim of Chinese propaganda that we are impeding freedom of navigation. That's why we still have to make sure that what they're doing is not freedom of navigation, but rather they are conducting illegal marine scientific research. So we were very careful in apprehending or intercepting a Chinese vessel. Otherwise, the Chinese government would just make up another story that we are impeding freedom of navigation, in which we are not.
Sir, tas yung start na lumaot na sila pala, May 5
Yesterday, immediately after BRP Teresa Magbanwa arrived on the vicinity, and we started challenging them repetitively. That's the time that they never bothered to respond to our radio challenge. But what they did is to immediately deploy the rigid hull inflatable boat to retrieve that yellow equipment and also to retrieve the submersible research vessel. And then after that, they left, in which the BRP Teresa Magbanua ensured that they are really going to go out our own exclusive economic zone.
So nandun pa rin sir yung Magbanua?
BRP Teresa Magbanua now, after we were already certain that the Chinese research vessel went out of our exclusive economic zone, is now carrying out maritime law enforcement patrol within the vicinity of Zambales.